What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Dave and I'm here to help you win with money so you can build your wealth. No one decides their financial future. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their financial future. Look at me as today's friendly reminder that your habits decide your financial future. Good habits can build your wealth, while bad habits can totally wreck your financial future. In financial life, your future is preceded by your habits. And that's what we're going to discuss today. In this video, I present 6 habits that you should break now to build wealth. If your dream is to become wealthy one day, you will need to stop or break these 6 bad habits to be able to create sustainable wealth. The truth is, you can do anything you want with your money. No one, including me, can tell you what to do with your money. However, there are several things that you can do to either help or hurt your chances of building wealth in the future. So waiting to break bad money habits is the biggest mistake that you can make on your journey to building wealth. Here are 6 bad money habits that you need to break now to start putting yourself in a position to build wealth. And stay tuned to number 6, which is the number 1 bad habit that ruins people's ability to build wealth. But before we get started, consider adding me on Instagram. My posts are pretty much daily. Let's get into the video. Number 1, only making minimum payments on credit cards. You see folks that carry balances on credit cards, and these are the individuals who spend the most amount of money on debt. Only making the minimum payment on a credit card means that you are going to be maximizing the amount of interest that you are paying towards your debt. Credit cards on average are north of 20% in interest rates. The average stock market return is around 8 to 10% on a good day. So if you are carrying balances on a credit card, you are more than double moving in the wrong direction to hurt your net worth. So you never want to carry balances on credit cards. A better approach is to pay your full statement balance every single month by the due date. If you're able to do that, you will pay $0 in interest, and you'll be able to take advantage of the credit card companies by capturing rewards or points for using your credit card, in addition to getting the fraud protection that is usually so good on credit cards. Number 2, not investing. We must invest to build wealth. I will take that even a step further and say that we have to invest in growth assets. And if you're doing it right, you are investing at least 15% of your annual household income in growth assets. Historically speaking, growth assets are things like index funds, where top companies are pooled together into these funds to minimize your risk and maximize your returns by investing in quality, balanced out portfolios and funds. Also, real estate is considered a growth asset. Over history, more millionaires have been built in real estate alone. Therefore, it is, historically speaking, it has a great track record of increasing equity, and we have to have a roof over our heads anyway, so why not own that roof over your head and benefit from the appreciation that comes from owning a home, which on average is anywhere from about 2 to 4% in a normal market. Number 3, the golden rule of personal finance and good money management. Spend less than you earn. The bad habit that you got to break is spending more than you make. If you're spending more than you make, then you are hustling backwards, and you are essentially robbing from your future self to fund a lifestyle that is above your means currently. So the golden rule of finance: you have to live within your means if you are to build wealth. So if you are not living within your means, if you are funding a lifestyle using debt, then you, my friend, are hustling backwards. And that is the quickest way to get yourself in financial trouble, cause yourself financial stress, and rob yourself of wealth in the future. Which leads us into number 4, failing to stick to a budget. It's one thing to have not planned at all. It is another thing to have a budget and not have the discipline to stick to that budget. Your budget is a roadmap to ensure that your future goals are being taken into consideration in the current landscape of your life. So that means you've got to have the discipline to stick to your plan. If you don't stick to your plan, then you are essentially, again, robbing from your future self to satisfy your current lifestyle. And that, again, that is hustling backwards. That is essentially robbing from yourself in the future to carry on a lifestyle right now that your income does not support. Financial life is 90% discipline and only 10% head knowledge. You can learn the head knowledge aspect of it, but you have to bring the discipline to the table if you are to achieve your long-term financial goals. Don't rob from your future self to support a lifestyle that your current income and expenses does not support. And I will also add, ignorance is not a valid excuse in this situation when it comes to tracking expenses and sticking to a budget. And the reason why I say that is because it is you that it hurts if you do not stick with the budget. No one else, not your family, not your friends, no one else, not even advisors, care as much about your financial future as you do. So you've got to bring that discipline and you've got to hold yourself accountable, or else no one else will. Number 5, spending too much on housing. This is a real challenge in the modern world. We've seen inflation continue to eat away at budgets all across the board, and none more so than in housing. The appreciation of housing is somewhat out of control. With interest rates going up, in addition to that, it is causing housing payments to be 30 to 50% higher on a monthly basis than they were just 3 years ago before we had the global COVID pandemic. And so what that means is more and more of folks' budget is being eaten up by housing expenses, primarily the mortgage payment. And rent payments are also going up. So I will flash on the screen here a chart that I put together on Instagram that shows you exactly what you should be looking at in terms of your debt to income ratio to know if your mortgage payment or rent payment is in the range that it should be for you to de-stress your financial life. As a general rule of thumb, you want your debt to income ratio to be less than 25%. So what that means is that you want your monthly payment to take up less than 25% of your annual household income. The higher that you get on this ratio, the more likely it is that your house owns you and you do not own your house. And what I mean by that is your payment can be so high to where you have to work and you have to sweat it out just to be able to make your payment. Therefore, you can't even enjoy it when you go home, because when you go home, you are exhausted. So you want to do your best to keep that debt to income ratio below 25%. You can stretch it out a little bit higher if you want to, but just know that the more that you go towards 50% on your debt to income ratio, the more your house is going to own you and the more stress you're going to bring about, instead of you owning your house and you prioritizing your own peace of mind. And number 6, this is the number one mistake that people make, and it is impulse spending. We are in a world that is glamorized. If you go on Instagram, if you go on Facebook, you are getting the filtered view of everyone's lives around you. And what that means is you are seeing the best moments, you're seeing them through filters, and you're seeing even the text is set up to present a happy, healthy picture. The reality is you do not see the behind the scenes. This was never more apparent to me than having been a personal banker when I started off my banking career back during the Great Recession. It was a time where people were spread very thin. There was a lot of fear throughout the economy in terms of the housing market was crashing. People were losing jobs. There were layoffs. There was a lot of uncertainty. And I can tell you, when you've been a personal banker and you've seen people's bank accounts, what you see is not the picture that is reality for the majority of Americans. The majority of Americans are funding a lifestyle using debt. And the reality is that is a really sad situation, because it's a stressful situation to be in. You feel like you have this massive weight on your shoulders when you've got all this debt. And yeah, to your neighbors, it looks great that you've got a boat and you've got a new house and a new car and another van, and all of those things, they look great. But the reality is the stress that comes behind the scenes that no one else sees, it is not worth it. The way to stop doing that, though, is to have a plan and to stop the impulse spending in your life. Again, you've got to have discipline and you've got to have a plan to be able to achieve these large life goals. If you want to find peace in life, if you want freedom, meaning time freedom, that starts with reaching financial freedom. Financial freedom is that catalyst that will give you the time freedom to do what you want with your time and not have to live based on someone else's schedule, supporting some employer that you may or may not like. So to get there, you got to stop the impulse spending, and you've got to come up with a budget, and you've got to get on a financial plan that is proven. You don't want to just take some plan from somebody like your neighbor, because again, my experience as a banker tells me your neighbor is most likely broke. And the less that it looks like they're broke, the more it is likely that they are funding a lifestyle with debt. If you're going to be successful at stopping impulse spending, the only way to get there is by putting yourself on a proven plan and getting started where you're at. You don't need a huge income. You don't need to get anything in order. You just need to start where you are, bloom where you're planted, and know that everyone starts in a different place. Where you are in your life is irrelevant. You just want to get started as quickly as possible. So my pro tip, you need a proven plan to be able to build wealth. You can download a free copy of my proven plan using a link in the description. Drop your thoughts and questions in the comments below. If you found value in today's video, make sure to like and subscribe for all the tips, tricks, and motivation to win in financial life. Until next time.